It is 5 p.m. sharp. I'd better get going here. Let's see, history test. Let me think, where do I begin? Whoa, there is so much information. Okay, here we go. I don't know if I can stomach this. Let's see. I know, that's it. I need a snack. That's the way to start out. I need a snack. Okay, that'll do it. Okay, there she was, just walking down the street. Yeah, I am ready. I am ready for this. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Now, this is the way to study. Now, what am I supposed to be studying anyway? I need to get organized. Hey, anthrax. All right. Oh, yeah. Oh, here we go. All right. I don't believe this. This is ridiculous. I am not organized at all. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at the Cape. We're ready for countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a liftoff. Oh boy, I've got to get going. This is something else. I've got to hurry. Oh no, that's wrong. That is wrong. I can't do it. I just can't do it. The crowd is going wild. Maynard is at the line. We want Maynard. We want Maynard. He's looking at the rim. He shoots. He made it! Yeah! Let me see. Where is that reference? I've got that here someplace. Let me think. I know where it is. Let's see. Oh, fine. Oh, this is great. This is just great. This is all I need. Oh, fine. This is great. I'm ruined. Oh boy. I am so confused. Maybe if I got some Z's, I can make some sense out of this mess. Holy moly, I'm late.
Maynard, you look horrible.
What do you expect? I've been up all night long studying for my history exam.
Not history, you have econ today, silly boy.
Econ? Oh, no.
Poor Maynard. If he had used a logical and systematic plan to study for the test, he wouldn't be in this confused state. Knowing the important information ahead of time would have solved Maynard's problems. He could have learned the material with fewer frustrations while still leaving time for a snack or two and a good night's sleep. Clearly, a study guide would have helped. This presentation will describe how study guides can be used to help students focus on the important facts and information of the content area. This can lead to improved student learning and retention.
To illustrate this, you will see demonstrations of study guides being used for student instruction, a strategy for constructing study guides, and a variety of techniques for modification and use of study guides in your own classroom. Be sure you have the instructional packet that accompanies this presentation. You will need it to complete the practice activities. As we proceed through this presentation, keep in mind these three objectives. First, you will be able to define study guides. Second, you will list the 5 major steps in constructing study guides. And third, you will be able to develop and use an effective study guide. These objectives are written at the top of page 1 in your packet. Now look at the middle of that page for a definition of study guides.
Study guides can be defined as outlines, questions, or statements that are arranged systematically to emphasize important information. To clearly understand this definition, let's focus on some examples of study guides that were developed for specific content areas.
You'll notice that each study guide is specific to the topic of information to be presented. This first study guide focuses on the information related to the causes of World War II as depicted in a history text. Although the text includes all aspects of World War II, this study guide only discusses the causes of the war. It is better to cover large amounts of material a section at a time instead of inserting too much information. Selecting only the information pertinent to the topic to be discussed helps to maintain the focus of the lesson.
Next, let's examine this study guide about Abraham Lincoln. Each statement or question is an important fact from the life of Lincoln. These facts have been chosen based on a predetermined objective. Question number 5 is important to know about the life of Abraham Lincoln. But the fact that Abraham Lincoln was assassinated shortly after 10 p.m. is not important information, so therefore it would not be included in the study guide.
Finally, a study guide needs to be organized logically. The individual items on this study guide are sequenced to ensure efficient yet effective coverage of the content material. This example is for a science lesson on human development. The statements are organized in the sequence in which they occur. It would be more difficult to learn all of the stages if the statements were randomly placed on the page. Placing items in a logical sequence helps students to organize and remember important information. Study guides may differ in form and content. However, all effective study guides have common benefits. These benefits are listed on the bottom of page 1 in your packet.
2 outstanding benefits are: 1, study guides highlight the most important information being presented, and 2, that information is structured and arranged in a logical manner. Teachers have also found that study guides help them stay focused during a lesson, increase the active involvement of students in the lesson, provide structure to the lesson for substitute teachers, and, perhaps the most important, they are liked by students.
Now let's view a teacher using a study guide in a classroom. Look for some of the benefits just mentioned and ask yourself the following questions. 1. Are the teacher and students focused on the important information? And 2. Is the information presented in a logical manner?
So if you look here, or on your study guides on number 2, you'll notice we ask, are lampreys parasitic in their larval stage? Okay, so think, the larval stage, they're little worm-like things, and they're living in the sand. Kevin, start, how's the life cycle start?
They lay eggs.
Okay.
Stay in the sand for 7 years.
Okay. Critter. What do they do next?
Then they go through metamorphosis and become adults.
In this class, you observed the important information from a lesson being stressed to the students. The presentation was logical and stayed focused. The students took an active part in learning as they completed a study guide and responded to the questions. Keeping in mind the definition and benefits of study guides, we'd like you to complete an activity now. Think about your content area and where a study guide could be used effectively.
Turn to page 2 in your packet. Here are some examples of topics in social studies. A study guide could be used for any one of the following. 1. Identify some skills needed for community jobs that provide goods and services. 2. Identify and compare the relationship between supply and demand and its effect on the price of a product. 3. Describe the purposes and contributions made by government explorers. 4. Evaluate how geography affects the needs and values of a given social system. And 5. outlining the rights and freedoms as guaranteed by the United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Now write some examples of topics within your own content area. Be specific and make a list of at least 5.
Please stop the tape.
How did you do? Once you got started, you probably found you could have listed many more topics. The purpose of this activity was to help you focus on the important topics in your content area that would lend themselves to the use of a study guide. Once you have chosen a topic, decide on the information you want your students to master. The easiest way to do this is by formulating an objective.
Not only will the objectives assist you in identifying the important information, they will also facilitate the development of the actual study guide. Watch now as Rick constructs a study guide according to the steps in the strategy. Turn to page 3 of your packet. As each of the 5 steps is explained and demonstrated, you complete the study guide on pages 3 and 4. The first step is to select the content material. You want to compile all the necessary information pertinent to your subject area or chosen topic. Step 2 is determine your instructional objectives. Remember, choose your objective carefully. It will guide you in the development of your study guide. The third step is to choose facts and concepts. As you do this, keep in mind the specific skills and information you want your students to master. If you are unfamiliar with content, you would first read the material. While reading, highlight or outline the important facts and concepts. Finally, make a list of those facts and concepts. The concepts and facts you select will become the statements or questions on your study guide. Step 4 is arrange the selected facts and concepts logically. Learning becomes more efficient and effective when subject information is organized in a meaningful way. If the subject matter lends itself to a particular sequence, then the study guide should be developed with that in mind. In addition, the arrangement of the statements on the study guide should reflect the order in which the information will be presented. The fifth and final step in the strategy is to create the student's copy of the study guide. As you develop the student form, consider these 3 factors. First, what is the purpose of the study guide? Will it be used for delivery of new information, as a practice activity, or for review? Second, what method of instruction will you use? How will the information be delivered to the students? Third, what is the level of your students? How well do they read and write? Are they able to work independently, or will they require prompts to complete the study guide? Giving consideration to these questions will assist you in developing an effective study guide. At this time, pages 3 and 4 in your packet should be completed.
Now that you have seen and heard how to construct study guides, it is your turn to develop one. Turn to page 5 in your packet. You are going to construct a study guide using the article on leisure time. Follow the 5-step strategy that has been outlined. Be sure your study guide has 3 to 5 statements or questions on the information from the article and your objective.
Please stop the tape. is one example of a study guide developed from the article on leisure time. The objective for this particular study guide is discuss the reasons for the decrease of leisure time. You'll notice that this study guide does not include any questions about the increase of VCR use. Although that is good information, it does not relate directly to our objective. How does your study guide compare? Do the statements relate to your objective? Are the items arranged in a logical manner? If so, congratulations, you have just constructed an official study guide. Now let's take a longer look at the classroom and see how study guides are used effectively. As you watch, notice the instructional method used during the lesson.
We're going to start a new chapter in our book today. But first, we're going to review. We've been talking about vertebrates, okay? And we talked about 5 of the types of vertebrates. So I'd like to review a little bit. So think in your head. Think. What are the 5 types of vertebrates? Jenny, name some.
Fish and reptiles.
Fish, reptiles, good. Kevin?
Birds and amphibians.
Birds, amphibians. There's one more, Critter.
Mammals.
And today, chapter 30 in our book, the next chapter we're talking about is on fishes. And we will go over that. We'll learn some of the things about them. You have in front of you a study guide. This is to help you learn the important information as we go through the lesson today. As I lecture, I'll be talking about some of the things that, and you can write these down, and I'll try and help you with those as we go through it. So chapter 30, fishes. Today our goal is to be able to know and list the 3 classes of fishes and be able to talk about the characteristics and know examples of each class. Okay? So the first class of fishes we're going to talk about is agnatha. And 2 examples from that class are lampreys and hagfish. And if you notice the first question on your study guide, it asks you, list 2 fishes that belong to the class agnatha. Okay, so in this case, the examples are lampreys and hagfish. Go ahead and write that now. Great. Okay, let's do a quick review of our study guide so far. We've talked about the 2 fishes that belong to the agnatha, and those are, what do you have, Rob, for those?
Lampreys and hagfish.
Great, you got it.
You have just seen one way to use a study guide. The teacher had the students complete the statements while he was lecturing. On page 6 of your packet is a copy of the study guide that teacher was using. This format is made up of brief statements and questions. Now, let's look at other study guide formats that a teacher can use.
The study guide on page 6 is the original study guide used in the lesson. In order to clearly indicate the modifications that have been made, we will use the statements from this standard study guide and change only the layout.
Look at page 7. The difference between this study guide and the standard is the addition of a margin on both sides of the paper. The purpose of the margins is to provide the student with space to take notes or expand on given information.
Next, look at page 8. In this example, page numbers have been added as prompts. This type of prompt is beneficial to the students if they are working on a study guide independently.
Now look at the study guide on page 9. This is an example of the close technique. Instead of answering the questions and statements, the student fills in only the missing word in each statement.
The study guide on page 10 is very similar to the previous example. The difference is the addition of a word bank. All the statements can be completed by choosing the correct answer from the list of words in the word bank.
Turn to page 11. As you can see, the format of questions and statements is different. A study guide can be developed with true-false, fill in the blank, multiple choice, short answer, or matching questions.
The last example is on page 12. The questions in this study guide are located on the left side of the page, while the student writes the answers on the right side. All of these examples suggest different ways to modify the format of a study guide. You will find a brief explanation of each format on page 13 of your packet. Refer to this page if you want to change the format of a study guide that you develop.
Not only are there different formats for study guides, there are a variety of instructional methods that can be used. These methods are also listed on page 13. The most frequently used method is lecture. However, study guides can also be used with a textbook, in learning groups, along with media such as films, video, or audio tapes, in conjunction with direct instruction, and as a student practice activity or homework.
Now that we have focused on several format modifications and listed different instructional methods, let's observe the variety of ways in which a study guide can be used. In this example, the study guide is being used within a cooperative learning group. The students must work together to complete the study guide for this lesson.
Now that you're all in your learning groups, there should be one person who has the study guide. Raise your hand if you're the one that has the study guide. Okay, these instructions are for you.
For this lesson, the students are practicing in pairs while using a study guide.
These students are searching for information in a textbook. They're using a study guide to focus on the important information on each page.
After you've written that down, I want you to go ahead and finish the page on your own. As you find the information, go ahead and write it down. If you have any questions, let me know.
In this class, the teacher is using direct instruction while teaching. The students are responding verbally as well as completing a study guide.
Today we're going to go through the study guide together as a group. I'll say the answer, we'll all say the answer, and then you'll write it down. Let's do number 1. 2 fishes that belong to the class Agnatha are lampreys and hagfish. The first one is lampreys. Everybody, what is it?
Lampreys.
Great. Second one is hagfish. Everybody?
Hagfish.
Great. Okay, everybody, write that down. Lampreys and hagfish. I'll write it too so you can see the spelling.
This study guide is going to be used as a homework assignment. The use of the study guide will help students that may have difficulty with the material.
What you have in front of you is your homework assignment for tonight. The directions are to fill in the answers on this study guide. You'll notice that there's a word bank at the bottom, so you can use that to help you find the answer. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day.
You have just seen many different ways to use and modify study guides. Now turn to page 14 in your packet and complete each question to review the main points of this presentation. Please stop the tape.
Let's check the answers to the review summary. Question 1. Define study guides. They are outlines, questions, or statements arranged systematically to emphasize the important information.
Question 2. List the 5 major steps in developing a study guide. Step 1. Select the content material. Step 2. Determine objectives. Step 3. Choose the facts and concepts. Step 4. Arrange facts and concepts logically. And Step 5. Create students' copy of the study guide.
Question 3. Which step in developing study guides helps make the decision? The answer is Step 2, the objective.
Question 4. List 4 ways to modify the study guide format. You could have listed any 4 of the following: margins, split half, prompt, close, word bank, or multiple question.
You are now ready to use study guides in your classroom. According to the research, study guides have been shown to make a difference in student performance. We hope you have similar positive results with your students and have fun while using study guides.
Now that Maynard has been introduced to study guides, he no longer wastes time being confused. Instead, his study sessions have become more effective and productive.
it's time to get started. Okay, let's see. Econ test tomorrow. I'm so glad that he gives us an outline. Every bit of information I need is on this list. This is going to be a snap. Okay, let's see. Number 1. Yes, okay. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Yeah. It's okay. Nothing to it. Okay, at last. Okay, Martha, I am ready for the econ test. Why don't we go eat? Come on, let's go. Come on.